Hello everyone, welcome to our second coding session. Today we are going to be building a project, more like a business website. So this is a recorded video so that everyone will benefit from it. We're going to do a brief review of what we learned so far. So we learned about a doc type, which is what tells the browser like Chrome that this is an HTML element, and then we have the HTML, which is the root element, and then we have the head and the body tags. In the body tag is where we're going to have the content that is displayed on our website. And first thing we're going to add is the header tag. Now this header tag is more like the introduction to our web page, and it has an opening and a closing tag. And then in the header tag, I'm going to add a navigation tag. This navigation tag is used to define a section of the web page with navigation links like unordered list. If you notice, we are using a live preview. It's an extension in Visual Studio. I'm using it so that as I'm building this project, you'll be seeing it on the side, how it looks like every step of the way. It's called the live preview. You can install it for your Visual Studio Code. And then I'm going to add in the unordered list a set of lists, and since it's a link, I'm going to add the anchor tag and use the href attribute. Now this anchor tag is used to create links that lets users to be navigated to other sections of a page, and that href is what brings that anchor tag to life. It works make the link to actually work. And I'm going to add a hash because we've not yet created the home section. So the first part I'm going to add is the home. So as you can see, it's showing on the other side of the page. That's why it's called live preview. And with that, we've closed the anchor tag and the list tag. So this is for the home link in our header session. I'm going to add two more, one for about, contact, more like what we see in a normal navigation menu bar. So let me add for the about. Since it's empty, I'll just add a hash so that it doesn't look blank. About, we close the anchor tag, and I'm going to close the list tag as well. So let's do that. Okay, and now I'm going to add one more. You could add about 5, but the key features we have in a navigation bar are home, about, and contact. So I'm going to add contact us because it's also vital to include it. About us is better now. So there we have it. Now we have our links in the header tag, and everything for the header part is complete for the HTML. I'm going to add a comment. You can add it with the opening bracket followed by exclamation and 2 hyphens. I'm going to add start of header section, and the purpose of this comment is to help future me or any developer that may be working on this project to know exactly what is going on in this code. So from that start to the end, the person will know that whatever is in the middle of these comments are the codes for the header section, and I'm going to do so for each and every one of the sections I include in this project. So I'm going to start off by, after adding the header section, I'm going to add another one, which is known as the section itself. Just as a head and body and the foot, so too in a website we have the head, we have the section, and we have the footer, more like a human body. And then we have the ID attribute. Now this ID is a way of giving a name to an HTML element that is unique. So it's unique across the web page. No other section is going to have that name, and that is why it's called a unique identifier. And I want to use it for that home page, the link of that home. So I'm going to write the value home because it's for the home section. Then I'm going to close the section and then add in using the H1. This is the section heading. The H1, when we use it in our code, you see it is very big. In HTML we have headings 1 to 6, and the H1 happens to be the biggest out of them all. Welcome to our Jadexarts Academy program. You could write your own business name or your own name. This is your own project, so you can style it the way you would like. And then I'm going to add a paragraph tag where we add a few notes like we provide high quality training sessions for students. We provide high quality training sessions for students who want to learn about web development from the basics, and we offer our courses which can be studied self-paced. Okay, that should do it. Now close the paragraph tag. There we have our first paragraph and our first heading element. Then I'm going to add a button for our clients to be able to view more. So I'm going to write learn more. Learn more, that should be better. Learn more, then close the button element. Then I save it and you can see it in the live preview how it looks like. Very nice, and it's turning out to be kind of okay. So I'm going to add the comment. Like I said, for each part I'm going to add a comment. This is start of the home section, and the home section I'm already done with that part, so I'm going to add end of the home section. There it is. So that's all for the home section. You can customize it to your own liking. It's your own project. So up next I'm going to style the add for the about section. We're done for the home section. Now for the about section right there. So I'm going to add a new section in line 32. Let me first of all add in comments start of the about section. There we have it, start of the about section. Then section ID will have the value about. Then I'm going to do this as I did for the home. I'm using h1 about us, closing the h1 tag. Then I'm going to add our mission in paragraph. It should be okay. Using the paragraph tag our mission. As you can see in the live preview, that's how it will look like on a web browser. Then I'm going to add another paragraph, and this place I'm going to add at Jadexarts Academy, comma, we are dedicated to providing high quality tech services that exceed our customers' expectations. You could just customize it to your own liking, but for me this is what I feel best, that will suit my website best. So you could customize it. It's about your business. So this is what I'm writing as the mission for Jadexarts Academy. Now I'm going to add, after that section ID for the about section, we've seen the header, we've seen the navigation, we've seen the unordered list. I'm going to show you a new div tag. Now this div tag, it's more like a container that is used to group elements, and we have the class attribute. Now we've seen the ID, which is a unique identifier. The class is a way of giving a name to an HTML element, which could be story as the value, and this story might not be unique. So the h2 is our story. So this class attribute, it doesn't have to be unique. You could use it multiple times across this page. Then I'm going to add in the paragraph tag, founded in 2022, Jadexarts Academy has grown from a small startup to a leading to one of the leading tech let's make it to be tech companies. Yeah, it's better that way. Okay, let's close the paragraph tag, and there we have it. Then we close the div tag. So div has an opening and closing tag, and then I want to add a button for a learn more to help our clients to see that what they're looking at is just a glance, and once they click on the learn more, they will be able to find more information concerning the story, concerning about us and everything in general. And that's the end of the about section. So there we have it over there. It's very nice, and our web page is starting to come to alive. You see the structure of the web page so far is starting to come to life. Okay, but I just want to add something like a testimonial to give our viewers, let me add it, to help them to see that we are reliable, that is not just by word of mouth. Let's add what our customers say, and I'm using the H2, which is second biggest in the 6 heading elements that we have in HTML. I'm going to use the paragraph tag, and I'm going to add this part. Jadexarts Academy has been a game changer for my career. So we're talking as though we're the customers, is the customers' feedback we're adding, their tech services, including their coaches who train students, are all top notch and amazing, always simplifying the topics and make it easier for beginners to understand. They are, let's make it to be something like, let me see, they helped increase my desire to learn, and now I am a senior web developer. Okay, so since it's what someone said, like a customer's feedback, we're going to add it in quotes. So I'm going to add a quote right there and add this quote right there, and then I'm going to indicate who said that, the customer's name, our student's name in this case, Excel, and I'll close the paragraph tag with that. So Excel, and we close the paragraph tag, and there we have it all there so far. Then we close for the footer. Now the copyright symbol, it's a way of helping a customer to know that this is legally protected by the author or creator. So if you want to write it in HTML, it's right there, and copy followed by semicolon, and I'm adding my 2025 Jadexarts Academy to show that it is authentic. And then we close with footer element. So once we save it, we see our work so far in the live preview, how we've come so far, and there we have it all complete, all done, and there it is. So this is all for our HTML. Now that we've added everything that we need for our HTML, what we'll need to do is to add some styling to bring the design to life, because it's looking all black and white. So there are different ways of adding styles. We have the inline style, where you add the color in the tag of an element, but it's not always advisable, because that would mean you will have to add this color or styling for each and every one of the attributes, and that could be a lot stressful and not really a good coding practice. Then we have another one, which is the internal CSS styling, where you add, using the style tag, the color that you want to style or any style you want to choose for the design. Now this is slightly better than the inline styling because it's inside the style tag, but the more our code gets bigger than it is now, it will get a lot larger. It will be a bit hard to know exactly which is the style, which is the HTML, and HTML is meant to be for structure of the web page. So that's why we go for the next option, which is using the external CSS styling, where we have a separate CSS file where we can add our styles, and then when we save it and refresh, we save and refresh, nothing happens. Now, do you know why? Well, here is the thing. When you are using CSS, external CSS file, you would need to link it to the HTML. If not, any code you add in the CSS will not reflect in your HTML. And to link it is like this: link followed by the relationship attribute, a to b, the value, style sheet. Now href, more like the anchor tag. The href is what is used to make the link actually work, and we're going to add the text, the file's name, index.css. So with that, you can see once we add it, it's now reflecting. The color is of the background of the body is blue in color now. So any style we apply in our CSS will automatically reflect because we've linked it to our HTML. And I'm going to change that color because I don't want it to be blue, so I'm going to change it to hash 021825. That will give it a darker shade of blue, and I think I like it right there. I'm going to add font family. You could use any one that you want, but I'm going to go with the popular Arial and sans serif. This is because in some browsers Arial may not be supported, but sans serif is supported by many browsers, so if one does not work, the other will work. Then we add the margin, which will be set the value to 0. Now margin is more like margin of a book, so the space outside is what we're setting. Then I'm going to add for the padding. This padding is the space inside of the content, and I'm setting the value to 0. And once we save it, you see how it has adjusted the web page and the content in it. And this color is just okay, but as we add the sections, when we style the sections, you come to see that its color really matches a lot. And when you're using colors in CSS, it's very important to be selecting the colors very well. And when you are styling, make sure that you are styling from top to bottom. Please do not style header, then footer, then navigation. Make sure to style it exactly the way as you wrote it in your HTML. For example, we style the body. The next thing we're going to style is the header, and then we'll start by styling the background color, which will add hash 333, more of a brown gray kind of color. And I'm going to add color, which will give it a white background. As you can see it, color is going to give it a white, the color white. Then I'm adding a padding of 20 pixels so that it doesn't look all cramped, and I'm going to align the text to be center, so text align center right there. Now one good thing about this live preview that to help you to see it exactly as I'm coding, and that is why I decided to use it for this project. So up next, I'm going to style the header and navigation with the unordered list. So I'm going to take the 3 of them, and this is called descendant selector, whereby the navigation and the unordered list are the ones that will have the styling that I'm going to write, which will be this list style. When we set it to none, you see that those 3 dots that were accompanied by the unordered list, they are no longer there. The margin will set it to 0, and the padding will set the value to 0 as well. So we have it so far like this. The styling I'm adding only applies to the header, navigation, and unordered list. And I want it to be that it would be displayed in line. I don't want it to be looking in the block kind of way. So I'm going to add the list, and I'm going to add display, set it to inline block. You see, now it's in line, no longer in a block format, but in line. I'm going to set the margin to be 10 pixels. Okay, padding, let's see, 20 pixels should do it, is better. Now for the font size, it's a bit tiny, but I'm going to increase the font to be 20 pixels so that we can see it clearly. Don't worry, I'm going to change the color of it. Like I said, we take it one at a time. We follow exactly as we wrote it in our HTML. That is a good coding practice. Exactly as you wrote it is the way you style. Then we add the header, the navigation, and the anchor tag, and I'll change the color to be white, hash FFF white. And then I'm going to remove that underline mark. So text decoration, let's set it to be none. Let me see, none. I don't want the underline mark to be there. Already our clients will know it's a link, but we don't have to leave the underline mark when we know we can remove it. It will make it to look more professional when it's not there. Like now, it looks more better now. Okay, so there we have it. It's all there. and it's looking amazing. But there's still an issue over here. I'm hovering on each of these links, but there's no indication that shows which links I'm hovering, but you can see it. But to make it to be more user friendly and for accessibility, I'm going to add a pseudo class hover. Now this pseudo class hover, when you are hovering the link on the link, is going to have this color. Let me see, hash 8BC34A. That's more like a green color and it's a bit too fast, so I'm going to fix that up pretty soon. Let me add a padding because it's a bit cramped there. 10 pixels, 15 pixels for the top, bottom, left and the right. 10 pixels, 15 pixels, and then border radius to give it a bit of rounder edge. Let me add 5 pixels to that. Okay, there it is. Then for the transition, to adjust the setting so that it will ease in and out, that background color that I've selected, the light green color, I'll make it to be 0.3 seconds ease in out. So once I save it, okay, there's a bit of glitch right here. Let's see if I adjust this thing. Let's adjust the live preview section. Okay, there it is. So you can see its transition. The transition made it to be that it doesn't just immediately change once a user clicks on it. It will wait for about 0.3 seconds before it is in and out. And if you want to reduce the number of lines of code, you could just click on that part and then reduce it right there. And just as we did for our HTML, we are going to add our comments. Comments are added by using the backslash and asterisk. So I'm going to add for that the body section. Then I'm going to add for the header part, start of the header section. It's very, very important to add comments, and I'm adding it now so that as we are coding and the number of lines of code increase, it will not be looking all big of a work to complete it. That's why I'm doing it now, so that it will be easier for me as I'm writing the code later on. So that is the end of the header section. So there we have it. We've completed the header section. Up next we have the home section. Now this home section, we are going to start by styling the section. Let's add a padding, make it to be 20 pixels. Margin bottom, the margin bottom of it will be 20 pixels. You can see how the effects are being applied to the code. Then box shadow, I'm going to add a touch of dark, like black color, so 0.1, which will give it a touch of black, like a box shadow of black. Now if you look close enough, you can see it is slight there, but once we add background colors to our section pages, you'll be able to see it very more better. Starting with the section, we'll move on to the home section, which is the first section. And in the home section, I'm going to style the background color and set the background color to be hash 7D hash F7DC67F, which is more of a warm kind of yellow. Then padding 20 pixels, and I'm going to set the text to be center, so text align will be center. Now this color codes is not off in my head. I got it from Colorzilla. It's more like a color picker where you can find awesome colors you could just pick from and then use. So these colors, I saved it for this project. That's why it's easier for me to just call them out. So there we have our header part and we have the home section. I'm going to style that h1 in the home section, so hash home h1. Remember the descendant selector, it will apply to only the heading 1 inside the home section, and I'm going to set the margin top to be 0. We would have said 0 pixels, but there is no need to add pixels since it's 0, so 0 will do it. And then I'm going to style the button to complete that home section. Home and button, let's style the background color. I'm I'm going to give it this color that I've saved, hash 4CAF50. Now this would give it more like a green background, a darker green, and it looks kind of okay. Let's change that color of the text to be white. Aha, it's much better now. Then I'm going to add padding for top, bottom, left and right. 10 pixels, 20 pixels. Okay, I don't want those lines of blacks around it, so I'm going to, for the border, I'm setting the value to none. Okay, to give it a rounder edge, let us add border radius 5 pixels because I don't want it to be too round. And then cursor, I'm going to give it a pointer. Now a cursor, if you look at it, this cursor is more like a normal mouse. As we can see, this is default, but if I add it to be a pointer, it will have sort of the hand icon. So when a user is hovering around the learn more button, it will be in the form of a hand icon. As you can see, for the home, about and the contact, the learn more is in the form of a hand icon, the cursor. And on hover, the hash home button, then hover, the background color, I'm going to give it a color that will be a bit darker, like hash 388E41, so that on hover the user will be able to tell that he's hovering around that button. There we have it. Then I'm going to style for the about section. The about section is looking all dull because of the background color, but I'm going to add a background color. It's, first of all, let us add the end of the header section. Very important, let us add this comment. So did I add for the start? Actually, it's okay, it's home section. I didn't add for the home section. We need to add for it. Backslash asterisk start of the home section. Okay, so anyone that sees my code will be able to know that this is the start and end of the section. And then let me add for the section itself, because there are about 2 sections here that we have. The section styling for the web page, that should do it. And I'm going to add the end of the section styling for the web page. Okay, that should be the start of the section, not sections. Okay, that should do it. Now I'm going to add for the about. Now since it's div, that's why we're using hash, and I'm going to style the background color like I said, so that we'll see in the about section the head home has a kind of yellow, so I'm going to add a color that complements that. That will be hash EEE, a bit of white but not too white, and it complements it very much. And you can see the box shadow is showing off a bit, and I'm adding padding 20 pixels to that. There it is. So if you notice, so far we've been styling the ID and we've been using the hash like this. About, in styling the H1, I'm going to set the margin top to be 0. It's much better now than where it was before. So if I look at this and I say, okay, I want to style for the class, it's not going to be a hash. If you want to style class in CSS, it should be represented with a dot, and following the descendant selector .story.testimonial. That is because inside the about section we have the div class story and the div class testimonial. They are inside the about section, so we are using the descendant selector, and we're going to set the margin top to be 20 pixels, as you can see it right there. So we've come so far in this our project, and from here on, the last part we'll need to style is the button. The button, I'm just going to add start of the about section for the comment. It's very, very important that we add it. It may look like nothing, but trust me, once you start writing codes and there are more like 1,000, 2,000, you see the importance of it. So it's very important to add it. For the button, I'm going to style the background color. I'll make it to be more like the learn more of the home section. So I'm going to use the same color code for that, hash 4CAF50. color will be white. The padding, let me see, 10 pixels, 20 pixels, more like that to learn more in the other one. Border none, border radius, let me set that to be 5 pixels to give it a rounder edge, as you can see, and the cursor will be pointer. So let me save that, and there you see it. So that's how we come so far in our project for today. So for the linking, remember we want to link to another section of the same page, and the ID of that home is home. So if you want to link to another section of the same page, you have to use hash home, and then we'll do for the about, and then it will be hash about. The contact, we've not done that section, so we won't add anything yet. So I'm going to add for the button of the about, which is the final one. On hover, the background color is going to be hash 388E41, and there we have it. Then for the footer, which is the final part, I'm going to add footer section so that we'll be able to tell that this is the footer section. I'm going to style the footer section in our CSS. Remember to save your work when you're coding. So for the footer, I'm going to add a background color of, let's use the ones we have, hash 333, more like the header section. Then the color will be white, padding will be 10 pixels. I'm going to align the text to be center, of course, then clear both. So this is what we have come so far to do. We've used a lot of tags, we've used a lot of styles. So if you're new to web development, it may be nice to go back and check again. To any section you did not understand, you can check again to understand it better. So this is how we come to the end of the second coding session. Don't worry, we're going to add a form in order for our clients to contact us. That's what we're going to be discussing about, and we're going to see how we host our website, because yes, we need to host it. It's not just for us to see, but for everyone to see it. So this is how we come to the end of our second coding training session. Thanks for watching.